He's one of the most iconic and feared strikers in Premier League history, a true Everton legend. Delighted to say Duncan Ferguson joins us here in the studio. Wonderful, wonderful to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
For coming in. It is
some great moments there.
Yeah, there were. What was your pick? What stands out for you the most?
I think the first one really against Liverpool. It was my first goal for Everton. It was Big Joe Royal's first game in charge as the manager. We were fighting relegation at the time. Liverpool were at the top of the league. Everton were at the bottom of the league. Some things don't change, do they? And I managed to get my first goal for the club. So that was a big moment for me at Everton.
What was it like, kind of moving south?
Look, I enjoyed it. Obviously, I had a wee bit of trouble up north, off the pitch and on the pitch. I struggled to get into the team at Rangers, and I had a wee bit of trouble off the pitch, didn't I? So coming down south was a good move for me, and obviously going to Everton turned out to be a fantastic move for me. It was a better league, more competitive, and yeah, it was a great move for myself coming down south.
Yeah, you spoke about that trouble, both on the pitch and off the pitch. And you speak in your book that you've got out at the moment about your time in Barlinnie prison in Glasgow, right?
Yeah.
OK, you described it as 44 days in hell. Talk us through it for people perhaps who don't know the backstory and McStay and Wraith and everything that went with it. Just explain what happened and how you ended up there.
Well, basically what happened is I had a few assaults when I was younger, a young kid. And between maybe 17 and 20, I had 3 or 4 assaults. And what happens is I got put in probation. And then if I broke that probation, there was a chance I was going to go to prison. As it happens, I broke probation when I was on the football pitch. So I actually played a game of football. There was a collision between me and the player for Wraith Rovers, I grazed the guy with my head. And nobody complained about that. You know, the guy never complained about it, the fans never complained about it, the police that were in the stadium never complained about it. But somebody on the television, the Procurator Fiscal, knew I was on probation, and he knew if I got charged for that offence, there was a possibility that I was going to go to prison. So it was it was really unfair on me, and it was, and I ended up getting convicted for that, which I think is I'm the only person on the pitch who's ever been convicted for something like that and went to prison on a football pitch. It was very unfair, I thought, and a very difficult time in my career. I was only a young man at the time. I think the incident happened when I was 21. I think I went to prison when I was 23. Not an easy place, not a very nice experience at all. And it was hell, really, to be honest with you.
How did you survive in there? Because it's not just a prison. You were coming or identified as one part of Glasgow. There would be people from the other part of the divide in there. Was that a dynamic in there? How did that work?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably like the city, it's split, isn't it? And the prison was no different. Rangers boys, Celtic boys. Of course, I'd played for the Rangers. Gone into a prison like that, which was in the middle of Glasgow. No easy. Frightening, to be honest with you. I was on my own. No protection. And you're just basically on your own. You've got to go in there and you've just got to get on with it. And that's what I did. And of course, you've really got to watch your back when you're in there, Rob, because of course, there's a lot of bad people in there. I don't think I was one of them, but that's what happened to me.
Were you scared? I mean, for Duncan Ferguson, as we saw you on the pitch, the feeling is nothing would scare you. But was that something that?
Obviously, I was scared. Yeah, I was terrified, to be honest with you. I was terrified of going in there. I was known. I was a Premier League football player by then. I'd moved to Everton by then, but of course I'd played for the Rangers, and I was terrified. But also, in a daft way, I was probably excited as well, crazy, because I was young, I was fit, and I thought I was fearless in a way. And I just wanted to meet it head on. But looking back on it, I'm not quite sure how I got through it, to be honest with you. But I did.
What was that first night up on the floor when they locked the door?
No good. No, not a good feeling. It was nice to get behind into your cell, away from everybody else. It was nice. But the first night was really bad for me because everybody was screaming in the jail that I was going to get cut to pieces in the morning. So you go on your first night, you're sitting in the end of your wee bed. There's just a bar window, and you can hear everything. And the threats I was getting was frightening. So when you open that door for the first time in the morning, it was terrifying. Because of course I'd been threatened the night before by many inmates that I was going to get cut to pieces in the morning. So it wasn't an easy moment for me.
Can you remember your cellmate? Can you remember who that was?
It was on Moan. They put me on Moan. And D Hall at the time, our top, we were at the top, on the top flat, what they call it. I was on Moan at the time. They put me in a Moan. But so was other inmates. So that was I was on Moan.
But in prison, what you talk about is the support actually you received when you were in there. Thousands of letters, mainly from Everton fans. What did that do for you?
Got me through it. It was wonderful, wonderful. I got like 10,000 letters. And of course, you've got a lot of time in your hands, haven't you? And I managed to get through most of them, I think. And I managed to reply to most of them. It was wonderful. The Everton fans and Rangers fans and other people who supported me. Because I think they all felt it was a wee bit unfair on me. You know, to put a young man at 22 or 23 in prison, I don't think it was fair. I think many people didn't think it was fair. So there's a lot of people wrote to me, and I was really thankful for that, and it really got me through the long nights.
You also felt it was unfair from the point of view of the Scottish FA, and that let you make the decision that you would turn your back on international football.
Yeah, my biggest regret, Rob,
it's
my biggest regret in my life and in my career, to only have played 7 times for my national team and never to have scored a goal is my biggest regret in my life. I was pig-headed. I was upset. I deemed it unfair in what happened to me. The SFA gave me a 12-game ban. They prejudged, so they did that ban before I went to the trial. So I thought they were prejudging me. I was guilty before I was guilty. So they gave me the 12-game ban. I went to prison. I served 3 months. I did half it. I missed X amount of games. I came out of prison, and the SFA wanted me to serve that ban again. So I thought that was unfair. So I got upset with them. I thought maybe the time in prison and all the games I'd missed, the couple of games I'd missed before I went to prison, was enough. It wasn't enough for them. They wanted me to serve another 10 games. I appealed, and I won my appeal. I never served the games. The judge backed me, but I became bitter. I became upset, and I blamed everybody, really, because I was young. I was daft when you were young. We're all a bit daft when we're younger, I think.
Is it too simplistic to say that your move to Everton in some way saved your life? If you'd stayed at Rangers, could it have got out of control?
I think I was out of control when I was younger, because I was a target, and I was going out, and people were recognising me, saving my life. I'm not sure about that, but certainly I would have been probably getting more problems off the pitch. Because I struggled to handle it. I struggled to handle making my big move. The big move for me wasn't easy. Coming from Dundee United to Rangers, I found it very, very difficult. There was a lot of pressure on me. I had minders wherever I went, so I couldn't go to the shops. I couldn't go anywhere without minders. So I think the Rangers at the time, God bless them, the great man Walter Smith, felt the best thing for me to do was to get out of Scotland and move down south. And that's what I did. And initially it was for only supposedly for 3 months. Just a loan period. And I was supposed to go back to Rangers. That never materialised because I fell in love with Everton in the football club, so I stayed where I was.
Was it love at first sight?
It was love at first sight. Yes, it was. It didn't take me long to really love the club, love the fans. They absolutely took to me right away. They needed somebody like me, I think. I think traditionally through Everton's history, they've had big number 9s.
Bob Latchford,
like that. One of the guys like that, Andy Gray, Graham Sharp, gone back a bit, Alec Young, the Golden Vision, Cannonball Kid. There was Dave Fixton, there was loads of players. And I fell into that category as one of the number 9s, and I was aggressive. And the people at Liverpool and Everton loved that about me.
Yeah. I think it was, you said you fell in love with Everton. I think it was easy to fall in love with you if you're an Evertonian because of what you just described.
Yeah, and probably because they needed somebody like me. Maybe there wasn't too many top players in the team at the time, or not too many talismans, figures, if you like. And I fell into that bracket. And they knew that I was a fighter, so to speak. I was aggressive, but I could play as well. And I fought for a jersey, as many other players did. But maybe I just fought that wee bit harder.
What is it about Everton that makes it so special?
Well, it's the fans, isn't it? It's like every club. The fans are the blood of the club. They're the lifeline. The fans mean everything to me. It is a community spirit. It's a family. Small area. Most of the Everton fans come from the area. Most of your season tickets are probably within 5 miles of the stadium. So there's a lot of Scousers that support Everton. And of course, I was spending a lot of time with them. So they love me for that as well.
You mentioned that in your book, and perhaps you weren't quite aware of who you were hanging out with. Just explain that.
Yeah, I mean, look, like all cities, there's elements of crime in a city. And of course, I was in the city centre, living the life, partying, being with all my friends. And of course, then you kind of fall into people, you fall into the wrong crowd, so to speak. But they were all good with me. So the people in Liverpool and all my friends were all good with me. Yes, sometimes they're on the other side of the law. I didn't quite understand that at the time because I was a young man just living my life. And it wasn't until some years later you realise who actually you're knocking about with, you know. Some serious underworld criminals, so to speak.
You found out by watching it on the telly?
I did. I did, on a Panorama, believe it or no, documentary. It was frightening, to be honest, yeah. But look, they were all great with me. At that time, we were all young men, remember. They were all young men. You know what I mean? They were all just starting out their careers, I suppose, as I was. But they were all good to me. The Liverpool people and the Scousers have been great with me.
Yeah. So Everton Family Club, they all come from a 5-mile sort of majority of them, of that radius.
Main, yes.
You were very vocal, keep Everton on Merseyside, you're very vocal on that. They've got one game left at Goodison. Is that a wrench of your heart, or are you excited about Bramley Moor, Doc?
It's a wrench. I'm upset, I'm sad. All that memories that we've all got is on that pitch. All our history is on that pitch, scoring goals. All the fans going to the match with their dads, with their mums, with their grandkids, their sisters, their brothers. And a lot of these memories that they've gone in a way because a lot of the people have passed away. There's a lot of ashes on that pitch. A lot of people have put their ashes on that pitch. Incredibly sad for the whole community. And it is upsetting that we're leaving. I would have much preferred us to stay there. I was the same when we wanted to move to Kirby once. We wanted to move the city outside, the stadium outside the city to Kirby. I was against that. But look, it looks like the stadium couldn't have been renovated. So I suppose in a way, in the end, it'll work out fine. But it's a very sad time.
Have you been for a visit to the new stadium? Have you seen the pictures of it? It looks impressive.
I've drove by it on many occasions. I've not been in it yet. I'll wait for the opening game of the season, to be honest. I think that'll be special. But of course, going back to Goodison, the last game will be an emotional time, won't it? But then we'll have to move on, I suppose. But the new stadium is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, there it is. It looks very impressive.
Yeah, it's an impressive thing, isn't it?
And it'll be exciting times. New owners, new lease of life, new everything.
But I hope that then it converts to the manager getting some money. You know, obviously there's going to be revenue coming into the stadium. You're hoping that's going to get passed on to the manager to invest in his squad. Everton have got a lot of players out of contract. There's going to be a massive rebuild for David Moyes in the summer, and he'll need money to do that. The last time he was at Everton, he brought a lot of good players to the club. So his transfer policy was very smart, and he'll need to do the same, unless he's got a lot of money, and hopefully has got a few quid.
Are you okay to stay on for a bit longer?
I've got no problem. Nowhere to go just now. Thank you. I'll keep going.
Right, wonderful. We're going to take a very quick break. There's still plenty more I want to ask you about that's in that book and what the future may hold too. So stay with us for more on that. Here we are, he's still with us. I think I managed to sort of keep you in your chair. It was wonderful to have you here, and thanks for staying on. We're talking about your new book, which is actually, I don't know why I said actually, as if I'm surprised. It is a brilliant, brilliant read. I want to talk about your time, between your two times, Everton. You were signed by Newcastle, £8 million, which, you know, for our younger viewers in those days was a huge amount of money. That infamous, memorable Ruud Gullit game when to Sunderland, when he put you and Alan Shearer on the bench for that one. Look, there's Alan Shearer, there's you, and just watch your face. Yeah, you.
Never saw that before.
You weren't happy there.
Too enthusiastic there, were we?
But talk us through that and the aftermath of that.
Ruud Gullit brought me to the football club. I got on great with him, no problems. He signed me, paid a lot of money for me. £8 million back then was a lot of money, and I was coming up. I think he had me coming into the team to replace Alan, which was quite incredible. Alan had so much more to give, which he proved throughout his career. And that was a difficult moment for Alan particularly, and for myself. It's part of football. You get dropped, don't you? Managers see different things. I've been on the other side of it as well and dropped players when I shouldn't have dropped players. So yeah, difficult time for us. And we lost the game as well. It was a derby match. But I mean, to drop Alan Shearer, for instance, you know what I mean? It's incredible, isn't it, really? But no an easy moment. But I got on well with Gullit. I thought he was a good guy and a good manager.
So what I'm hearing from you meekly accepted that, and then when you went into training the next day, you didn't say anything and you just got on with it.
No, back in the day, no, it was a bit lively. But to be fair, I think because I was getting dragged in a wee bit with the managers, problems with Alan, their relationship, I was getting dragged into that a wee bit, I felt. And of course, I wasn't happy about a few things that were getting said behind the scenes in the dressing room and things like that. So I couldn't wait to get in the morning. So yeah, I jumped in my car, got in as early as I could to make sure I spoke to the manager first thing, you know. And to be fair, that was the only crossword I ever had with Ruud Gullit. I think as the door was swinging back and forward, and I was on the way out, Alan was coming in, you know. Alan had been on the school run. And he wasn't happy.
So he was annoyed that you got him first?
Yeah, he was annoyed that I'd got him first because he was on the school run, I think. It was like a tag team, you know. I was coming out and he was coming in. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There's so much in that book.
I'm glad you've read by the first couple of chapters. Yeah. It must be interesting.
I got onto something that kind of really interests me, the chapter on sobriety, and what you say in there is actually all those chaotic times were all wrapped around alcohol, effectively, weren't they?
It was off the field, but obviously all the problems I've had has been off the field in the main. Obviously, I've had red cards on the field, but off the field, I got myself in a few assaults because really I was going out and I was drinking, I was putting myself in no good situations because I'd then become a football player. I'd then become a target, and I was going out for a night out, and of course then you become a target. Where there's booze, there's trouble. There's always been in my life, and that was really through a younger age. I must say, when I went to Liverpool, I had no trouble. There was no trouble, but I decided that the best thing for me to do was to stop drinking, and I did do that. Unfortunately, I did it back to front. I should have been drinking at 35. No, stopped drinking. I was drinking too young. I drunk throughout my career, and I stopped drinking when I retired. Crazy, nuts. Well, there you go. But I've not had a drink for about 15 years now.
Fantastic. You talk about you moved to Mallorca. Lunchtime drinking became a thing, and then you said, I'm going to give up at Christmas, or I might have a drink at Christmas. Then you didn't, and you described that event on New Year's Eve when everyone was watching you.
That's
but
right.
What I really got from that was the sense of relief from your wife and from your children and your family that they thought on that New Year's Eve you were inevitably going to go again, and you didn't.
Yeah, obviously the drinking leads to late nights, doesn't it? So I've had trouble in my life, and a lot has been through drink. Most has been through drink, and of course you've got a family, you've got a wife, you've got kids, you've got the school run. I started to get more responsibilities, instead of just me and my wife, for instance, and me going out with the lads. So I felt I had to knock it in the head. To be honest with you, Rob, I just couldn't take the hangovers as well. Just couldn't take it as I got older, and I thought that drinking was becoming a problem for me. I was in Mallorca, long lunches, everybody coming over, and then it was getting too much for me. And you're right, I decided to stop to Christmas. Christmas came and went. Then it was New Year. It came and went, and in the end, that was it. Then I've not touched a drop since. And I'm glad. I'm glad in a way because I feel much healthier, much better, and much more professional.
There's some great kind of celebratory moments in your book, but there's also some heartbreaking moments too, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride for me. I mean, most of this book is probably off the field. A lot of my story has been off the field. So I've had a lot of tough times in my life, a lot of great times, but the times, I've been skint, I've had no money, not a penny. If you've gone for earning millions and millions of pounds, every year, to in the end having nothing because of stupid decisions that I made financially and business sense. So it wasn't easy. So I went through the whole thing, to be honest with you, as a lot of people have done. We've all struggled financially. We've all had difficult times, haven't we? And a lot of that is through financial things, isn't it? If you read the book, the heartbreaking moment of taking the ring off your wife's finger kind of jumped out of me, and it was, very... Not an easy moment for me. No, very sad moment. Us. No. I want to ask you about one of your former teammates, someone who has warmed the hearts of everyone here on the football show, and that's Kevin Campbell. How is he as a teammate? I mean, I know everybody said it, and rightly so. What a gentleman. What a lovely, lovely man. Such a beautiful fella. Family man. Always with a smile on his face. Always had time for everybody. He always had time for me. He was a great man. He was loved at Everton. Absolutely idolised. The fans still sing his name. What a great guy, and he scored a lot of goals for the club. Saved us when I moved for Everton to Newcastle in 1998. He came in for me, replaced me, Kevin, and I think he scored about 9 goals in 10 games and kept Everton up in the division. So he's always remembered on Merseyside for being such a great man, but also what a great football player. He was a wonderful player here. Look at him. Yeah. He was such a great player and a great man. We all loved him. And he's missed terribly. Yeah. I think that could be the last winner we scored at Anfield there. Or one of them. Yeah. He was a great man. Lovely man. And he's missed incredibly. Such a young age, isn't he? Beautiful man. Another one of your former teammates, Mikel Arteta, Champions League, action tomorrow. What were your impressions of him during that time? Did you think he'd be a manager? I don't think any of us are thinking like that, to be honest, at the time. We were just concentrating on our own career. I was a captain at the time. I was cracking on with my career. Mikel was a wonderful football player. He was a tremendous player, had an excellent, great talent. And of course, then that's probably something he's developed as he's went along. And of course, he's worked with one of the best in the world, hasn't he? He gave him a good grounding. Got into Man City and learning for Pep. One of the, I'd only put him behind Carlo Ancelotti or Sir Alex Ferguson's the best manager in the world. So so he's got a good grounding, hasn't he? He's went to Arsenal, done a tremendous job over the last 4 or 5 years. But yes, he's doing great, isn't he? Just making that next step is the hard part, isn't it? Getting to the top, the very top. And it's no easy. There's only one team that can win the league. One of the you mentioned him there, so I've got to pick up on it. I love the bromance between you and Carlo Ancelotti. A simple, straightforward Scotsman with the flamboyant, cigar-smoking Italian. Yeah. I love that. What makes your relationship so... Because he's written the forward in the book as well. What makes that relationship I think
so good?
I think he knew he was a straight fella, and I had good advice for him regarding the players in the club. So if he asked me for some advice, I gave him it straight, and it was good advice. He obviously knew I wasn't a mug myself. I could coach. He allowed me to take the sessions, and I suppose he felt as good being around about me. And he was a wonderful man. We got on great. He was such a humble fella for it. He done so much in the game. You know, he's a superstar. He's won more Champions Leagues. He's won it as a player. He's won everything. We got on great. Really, really good. We used to go for dinner together, which I've never saw him ever with any money. I suppose when you get to Carlo's stage in your life, he's like the king, isn't he? He doesn't carry any money with him. But what a wonderful guy. I learned so much from him. And, very proud to have worked with him and very proud to be hopefully regarded as one of his friends. We got on great. It just clicked between us.
Because that brings me on to he looks like he's most probably on his way out of Real Madrid. For you going forward, you've had a couple of goes at management. Did you enjoy that? Is that somewhere where you want to see? Or, if the rumours are true, assistant manager to the Brazil national team with Carlo as the manager. Would you fancy that?
Well, I'm not working, am I? So I'm out of a job, so I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for work. I really enjoyed my management. I picked two really tough jobs. Obviously the first one at Everton was an incredible moment in my career, fighting relegation. We were playing Chelsea at the time, we were unbeaten in months and months and months. We were in the bottom three at the time. That was an incredible experience, that. And of course we got the victory. We won 3-1 that day.
You made the ball boy's life.
It was amazing. Yeah, I nearly broke his ribs, the ball boy, poor ball boy. But it was such an emotional day, and we won. It got us at the bottom three. And then I got impatient. I wanted to move on. I wanted to become a manager permanently. I'd got a taste for it at Everton. I was successful there, albeit only a small sample of games. I wanted to move into management, and I picked two really tough jobs. Really tough jobs. Both the teams were in the bottom of the division. And of course, I lost my job the last time through administration. So I lost my job through administration. How unlucky can you get? So I want to have another go. I think I've got a lot to offer. I'm still young enough, still healthy enough, and I want to really. That's my dream. My dream is to continue to be a manager, and and live and keep chasing that dream. That's what it's all about, isn't it, Rob? We can't give up our dreams, mate. We've got to keep going.